But there are going to be two different testing dates. One of them will probably be real close to the testing date we already had, and another one will be farther out. They're going to come out, I think it was April 3rd. They're going to come out with more info detailing what our exam's really going to look like. So what I want to do, since they really don't know what they're doing yet, I'm going to go ahead and finish up Unit 8 this week, because if you're going on into college, you're still going to need it. And this isn't just AP Calculus, it's Calculus trying to get people ready for Calculus in college. So I want you to be exposed to all of it. I went ahead and put 8.9, 8.12 on here. This is the last work for this chapter. It's all one assignment. I've already got it up here. So even though it looks like 8.9 to 8.12 is a lot, I mean, this is a homework for all of them all put together. So this is going to be your NTI work for all week. And what I'll do is, like, for you get it all done, you get hundreds all week on the NTI crap. I'm going ahead and doing it that way just because we have a spreadsheet now we have to put information in on about NTI. So even though technically in my mind with our class we're just moving on like normal, I still have to put it in there that way. So anyway, as soon as I know more about what's going on, I will be sending it on to you guys. Like I said, I put down here what I do know, the links, the units. These are the units you will be tested on. It's everything but Chapter 8. So we will definitely go through some of that. And then over here, this is like the stuff that I got when we started this. This is just the course description. And there's a whole lot of stuff in here you don't really have to give a flip about. Just go to page, I think it's 27, I think. Yeah. Right here, this is what you're going to be tested on. So this tells you the stuff, the stuff that we're going to have to know. There's a lot here, but these are real short little things that a lot of them you'll put together and do. So, right, we'll stop right here. None of this is going to be on our test. So as far as the testing goes right now, that's all I know. Does anybody have any questions for me about that? Okay, the crickets is telling me nothing. Okay, so another thing I want to talk about, let me see what else is on here. I talked about 8, 7 to 8. I told you I would take questions about that today. So if there's no questions on the test stuff, right before we start this, I do want to say your 8.4 to 8.6 is due today, I do believe, and you have a quiz on that today. When class is done, the quiz will be open. You'll have 24 hours to do it, a little more than 24 hours, actually 26 hours. If we get done early, which I anticipate we will, I'll open it up as soon as class is done. But 8.4, 8.6, this is due. 4 of you all have turned it in so far, and 20 have not. So let's go straight to questions on either 8.4, 8.6 or 8.7, 8.8. Anybody got anything for me?
Number 8.
Which
on 8.4.8.6.
Number 8 on 8.4.8.6. So let's see what we have to do with these first. Okay, we just want to sketch the region, and then we need to find the area. Okay, say number 8. Let me take a picture of it, and I'll move it over there. Okay, so on this one, I get to move. There we go. Basically, here's how you got to think about this. This is basically, let me get my tablet out. This is basically x cubed shifted to the right 1. So x cubed, let me just get the calculator and pull it up so we can just look at it easier than me trying to graph it on here. I know it isn't a calculator problem, but I don't know why this is doing this. It's not a calculator problem, but it's just easier for me to show it you all this way than try to graph it. So while that's graphing, what you see here is x minus 1. That's basically x cubed, and because that negative 1's in the inside, that's moving us to the right 1. So once this thing comes up, and then this one's easy. This is just a line, slope of 1, crossing through at negative 1. So let me see if I can go ahead and draw that one on there while we're waiting. I'm down here at what? 1 is, I don't know if negative 1's right here or right here. I'm going to say right here. And 1, 2, 3. So we got a line something like that for this guy. So if we're going to look at this on here, sorry guys, I should have had this already up. I didn't realize I'd be using it. What we can do while we're waiting maybe is let's go ahead and see, because it is not a calculator problem. Can we figure out, them boards did too. Not very with it today, I guess. And I can't get to plug in. Okay. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to say y equals, clear out what's in there, parentheses x minus 1 to the third power. And there we got.
Negative.
What now?
Wasn't it negative?
Let me look real quick and see. X minus 1. No, well, I mean, it was x minus 1.
I mean, negative on the outside.
I don't see a negative. Do y'all see a negative on the outside of yours?
Oh, sorry. I'm
Okay.
just blind. Sorry.
That's okay. Okay, let me get this over here out of the way. Okay. So we know it looks something like that. So now, if I come on here and I graph that, we have something along the lines of, see, I'm not going to be able to graph it very pretty. Let's just go ahead and say the heck with it and come over here and do both on here to save some time. My second one, I'm going to arrow down, and I'm going to say x minus 1. And now notice how close this zoom in is. I'm going to go to my window, and I'm going to just basically put in what this has. This has a negative 0.5. My x max is a 2.5. And our scale is 0.25. So that's going to give us this little thing right here. Our y min is a negative 1. Our y max is a 1.5. And our scale again is a 0.25. Okay, so it should look like this when we graph it, ish. Okay, so now we want to find this area. So we have two areas. We have from here to here and from here to here. But if you'll notice, they're symmetric. So I don't have to do both. I want to find this area. Technically, this area is going to be negative. This area is going to be positive. So if we were just taking the integral of it, the integral would be 0. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to go from this point to this point, and I'm just going to double it. And I'm not going to make it negative. So what I need to do now is I need to calculate the intersection points of them just to make sure. So I'm going to go to 5, and I'm going to say first curve, second curve, and my guess, I'm right there where I want it to be. I don't want it to be over here because I know that one's 0. I'm going to hit enter again, and I've got a 1. I just checked it just to make sure. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to say from 0 to 1, and there's going to be 2 of them. Now let me get back over here and take a picture of it so we can talk about while we're looking at it.
Wait, why do you have that 2 out front?
Because I'm just going, this is technically from 0 to 1, and then from 1 to, I guess, 2. I guess that's that other one. But they're symmetric. So I'm just going to go from 0 to 1 and just double it. And that's going to give me the area of both of them.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let me try to copy, paste. Okay, so there it is. So now our one on top is the cubic. So I'm going to say x minus 1 cubed. The one on the bottom, or the lower one, is x minus 1 dx. Okay, and here's the deal. You're supposed to do this by hand. If you want to do this by hand for the fun of it, go for it. But These are crazy times, and crazy times calls for shortcuts. I'm going to come over here and I'm just going to do it right here, and I would fully expect you all to do the exact same thing. So I'm going to clear it out. I'm going to get out of here. And I'm going to put a 2 out front. I'm going to F an integral. I think I hit the wrong thing. Did I not? Alpha. Number 4. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Really?
Second, then quit.
Yeah, I get it. I'll get there. It's just, it's a Monday. See? The struggle is real. Okay, there we go. From 0 to 1. And I'm going to go parentheses, x minus 1 cubed. Make sure you arrow over again to get back down. Minus parentheses, x minus 1. Make sure you close that parenthesis. And then you're going to hit dx. And I get 0.5. And I don't know if that's the answer or not. Is that the answer?
Yes.
Okay, so there you go. So again, let me bring this back up here so you can see it. Technically, you should have done that by hand. But, you know, technically we should still be in school. So there is number 8. Sorry for the stumbling. I'll be much better on the next one. Any other questions, or do you have questions about what I did there? Again, if you would have gone from 0 to 2 and did this, your answer would have been 0. Because when you take the integral of it, it takes anything underneath as being negative. That's why you have to either take the absolute value of the whole thing, or just realize you got to look at the picture of it and see what's underneath and make sure you take the absolute value of that. So any other 8-4, 8-6, 8-7, 8-8 questions? Remember, you have a quiz on 8-4, 8-6 in about 45 minutes.
Can you do number 2?
On this one? This guy right here?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure this one's going to go much smoother, right? Copy. Oh, that's physics. Yeah, I don't want to mess with that yet. Okay. So we got this guy, and let's not even fight it. Well, okay, let's fight it a little bit. I want to see what the bounds are. So I'm going to go ahead and say x squared minus 4x plus 3 equals negative x squared plus 2x plus 3. I'm going to move everything to the left-hand side to make the x squared positive. I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides, and I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides. Now I'm going to take the GCF out. That's right. Yeah. So I have x equals 0 and x equals 3. So I'm betting those are going to end up having to be our bounds. And if you think about it, this is going to be a parabola that does this. This is going to be a parabola that does this. So either you're going to have them where they, and in this case, it's going to have to be this. Now, there is a case where they could look like this. But if that were the case, you would have to have your stopping and starting point. So as far as graphing this, let's go over to our graphing calculator and take a look at it. I'm going to get x squared minus 4x plus 3. And then arrow down, clear that one out, and get negative x squared plus 2x plus 3. Let's go ahead. I can do this window if you want to take a little bit of time. Let's just hit zoom 6, because really we just want to see, make sure that it looks like we want it to. We have an intersection point here at 0, an intersection point here at 3. The negative is our top function. When I say negative, I mean this guy. The parabola that opens up is our bottom function. So if we go to take a look at this, let me get a picture of this to put on there. Okay, so here's what we got. So we're going to say the integral from 0 to 3 of the top function minus the bottom function. I'm going to run a room. Okay, now I think, Ben, I think you're the one that asked me this question. Do you want me to finish working it out so you see it?
No, that's all right.
Okay, so what got you?
Taking out that, I mean, whenever you had to do finding the zeros over there, finding the bounds, I
This-
just didn't do that. And
Okay.
just-
Okay, so that,
Miss Fisher,
yes.
shouldn't your equation be flipped?
Oh, crapola, it should. I was just looking at this. I was talking to Ben. I just wrote down the first one I saw. This is our top one.
She's
And it-
just making sure we're paying attention.
No,
Don't
I
worry.
just jacked that one up. Make sure, I mean, a big thing you really want to make sure of, and there should be a dx there. Make sure you have that second piece in parentheses. Because if you don't, you'll have a beautiful looking integral that will be completely and totally wrong. Other ones. Anything else from 8486? Nothing? Yeah, I see a bunch of you people over there. None of you all have a question? Okay, well, let's see here. No questions on here. This one is due March 25th. March 25th is which day? Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Okay. So yeah, Wednesday. So I was gonna start. I'm gonna do one example from the new stuff. If y'all gonna ask me any more questions on here, I'm gonna do one example. So you have it.
Actually, looking back at it, I do have. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Uh-huh.
I do have a question on 8486. It's number 10.
Ew, it's got fractions.
Wait, I thought 8486 was due to 9
It is.
Oh.
8788 is due
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Yeah, I was just trying to think
Okay.
ahead.
All right.
Yeah, I didn't mean to freak you out. Okay. So again, it says non-calculator. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to set these two pieces equal to each other and see what my bounds are. And really, I'm going to rewrite the second one as x squared over 2. That's the same thing. And once I do that, I'm just going to cross multiply. I want to have 2 equals x squared plus x to the 4th. That times that times that. So I have x to the 4th plus x squared minus 2 equals 0. I took the 2 over here with them, and I put them in standard form. Now let's see if we can factor it. Instead of putting x in the front of both, I'm going to put an x squared. What multiplies to give me a negative 2 adds up to give me a positive 1. So we're going to set both these terms equal to 0, but right away, this one's not going to work because x squared cannot equal a negative number. So that one's done. We're not going to use it at all. Over here, I'm going to get x equals plus or minus 1. So those are going to be my bounds. What I really got to kind of try to figure out here is if I go to graph these two, which one is going to be on the top and which one is going to be on the bottom. So if we're looking at this guy, this is just a parabola, and parabolas are nice. I'm going to start here at 0, 0. If I sub in 1, I'm going to get a half. So 1, 2, 3. So 1 up a half. I'm going to have it over here also. And that's just enough. It's just kind of a fat parabola. That's just enough to give me an idea of what that one looks like, my green one. And then this guy right here, if I sub in x is 0, I'm going to get 1, right? So I'm going to go up here, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to be right there. So let's try subbing in another one. Let's try subbing in, I don't know. Somebody help me out with something else I could sub in over here. If x is 1, let's try x being 1. So if x is 1 is right over here. If I sub in a 1 right there, I get a 1/2. So over 1, up 1/2. And I get something that should look like that, I believe. So again, desperate times, desperate measures. going to come over here, y equals, clear it out, put in, I can't read it because I wrote over top of it. I'm going to have alpha y equals, and I want n over d.
Pretty sure the blue one is just a downwards fat parabola.
Well, we'll see. Maybe I screwed up. We'll look at it and see. I got 1 on top. On the bottom, I've got a 1 plus x squared. And honestly, if I wasn't planning on coming over here and just jumping on the calculator, I would have been a lot more particular about that. But I know I'm going to go over and look at it. So again, let's do their window because they have a prettier window than mine. Negative 1.25 to 1.25.
So on this homework, do you want us to like draw out a graph?
Technically,
Yeah.
you're supposed to. What I do is I sketch it just enough to know which is on top and which is on bottom.
Okay.
That's all I really care about. Because, and here's the thing, you get it wrong, the magnitude of the number is the answer, but it's just going to be negative. So if you get a negative number and I got a positive number, that just means you put your you switch top and bottom.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh yeah, so this guy should have come what? Oh, that was stupid. If I thought about that, I would have realized it. Yeah, it should have come like, that was dumb of me. So there's what we got. So now, again, we know basically all we need to know is that this one's the top one, the blue one's the top one, the green one's the bottom one, and they're going from -1 to 1. So over here, I'm going to say -1 to 1, and I'm going to say 1 over 1 plus x squared minus, I'm not going to worry about the parentheses this time because I have just a monomial dx. And if you're going to do this by hand, what you would have to do next is you would have to get common denominators. And then it should get pretty decent looking once you get common denominators. Stuff will cancel out. And then any derive it that way. I can do it by hand if you want me to, but on the quiz, on the test, you're going to use your calculator anyway. So if you're good with that, I'll just put ... unless somebody tells me they want me to finish it out. Okay. Anything else there then?
Can you look at 13?
13. On the same section?
Yes.
Okay. Is that you, Shane?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, Shane. Okay. So if we're looking at 13, let me get a new page for it. Are the instructions the same? Just found the value. Okay. Okay. So what we have here, we had to find b. So x equals b is going to divide the region of, so we have a line between the x and the y axis into two equal regions. So that's what we have to look at right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my calculator and I'm just going to graph the 16 minus 2x. I don't have bounds really. You know, they didn't give me any kind of bounds. They just had, they have the x-axis and the y-axis. So I've got that, but I can't really type those in there. So I'm just going to, we'll talk about that in a minute. 16 minus 2x. I'm just going to hit zoom 6. Okay. Now, it's way over here. I can't see all of it. So I'm going to have to make this bigger. There's not a lot over here, which it kind of makes sense because you know it's going to be the y-intercept is 16. It has a slope of -2. So let me go in here and change up my window a little bit. Instead of -10, I'm just going to say -1. Instead of 10, let's just go ahead and say 20. Y min can stay that. That's fine. We're going to go up to 20. And let's graph this guy again. Okay. Now, I'm going to take a picture of this so I can talk about it. Okay. It says on here, find the value of b if the vertical line. So I need to get me a vertical line in here. Line. Pretty good looking vertical line. Okay. The vertical line x equals b divides the region between 16 minus 2x and the x and the y axis. So basically we are looking at this, and that. And we are going to take this x equals b line, and we're going to have to cut this into 2 equal pieces. So if we're looking at that, we've got to figure out where they intersect down here. So where do they intersect down there?
At x equals 8.
Yeah, because if you think about it, if we have this equation, y equals 0 there, so at x equals 8, that's the point where my line intersects the x-axis. So basically the whole thing is from 0 to 8. Okay? But we want to cut it. So we're going to say from 0 to b of 16 minus 2x dx equals from b to 8 of 16 minus 2x dx. And you'll have to antiderive those and sub it in. Do you want me to keep going? I can. Are you good from there?
I'm good, man.
Anybody else? I can keep going if you may need to.
Wait, so after that, after you derive it, then you just sub it in and subtract.
Yeah, so I'm going to have 16x minus what? X squared from 0 to b. So I'm going to have 16b minus b squared. And the 0, just everything cancels out. And on this side, I'll make it green. I'm going to have 16x. The antiderivative is the same. So on this side, I'm going to have 16 times 8, which is 128. Somebody tell me if I'm wrong.
It's 128.
Okay, so this, now be careful right here because this is where people screw up. It has to be minus 16b minus b squared. So we end up over here, 16b minus b squared equals, I've got 128 minus 64. Somebody quick tell me what the answer is. I think that's 64.
64.
Minus 16b plus b squared. Okay. Now what I want to do is I have to figure this out. So I'm going to take it all to one side. And it doesn't matter which side you take it to. I'm going to take it to the right this time because it's going to make my b squares be positive. So I'm going to add the b squared to both sides. I'm going to subtract a 16 from both sides. And this is what I'm going to hopefully have to factor. I may end up having to use a quadratic formula. I don't know. I do know right away I can make it easier and make that what? 32 equals 0, and 0 divided by 2 and gets absorbed. Is there anything that multiplies to give you 32 that adds up to give you negative 16? 8 and 4. What's the other one? 16 and 2. So what do you think you're going to have to use on this?
Quadratic formula.
Yeah. So I would say for this one, my b equals negative b plus or minus b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And honestly, you can leave it like that. In fact, there was a, what did you all do recently? I was grading your all's tests from way back in the day, and we actually had school and got to see each other. And you all got the right answer on a part of it, but then you kept going and you screwed it up. So leave it like that. If you want to, that is a perfectly fine, good answer. I would rather you leave it like that than take the chance of multiplying it out and getting something jacked up. So if you can leave it like that, just leave it. You okay with that, Ben?
Aren't we allowed to use calculators on this one?
I don't know.
Thank you.
Was it you're welcome. Was it a calculator one? It may have been. Yeah. Honestly, so if it had been a calculator one, I would have just gone to my calculator and used Polly for that and gotten, a 3 decimal place answer. But if it's not, you can leave it like that. And even if it is a calculated one, you can still leave it like that.
So, Ms. Boucher,
Yes.
could you just do the integral from 0 to 8 and divide it by 2 and just set it equal to like half of the.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah. Yes,
I did
because
from 0 to 8 and then set it equal to 0 to b and then divide it by 2.
did you get the same answer?
Yeah.
Then I guess you can. Yeah, that makes sense that you can because you're dividing into 2 equal regions. It just scares me that this might give you a point. For an FRQ, for you to realize that this piece has to equal
Well-
that piece.
Yeah, I wrote it down and put like the 0 to B minus the B to A.
Okay, you'd be fine then.
Zero.
Yeah, you're fine then.
Okay.
Because that's a good mathematical way to do it, as long as they know that you know what you're doing. Does that make sense? They've got to see.
Yeah.
A lot of times, this is just worth a point. Okay. Any other ones? Okay. If there are no other ones, instead of going on today, successfully taking up enough time that I'm not going to move on today, we will start the 8-9 stuff tomorrow. I'm going to tell you. I'm going to show you right now. 8-9 stuff, like 8-9. Oh, gee whiz. I got them all screwed up now. We're going to do the DISC method. All of these, it's 5 to 14 of them. There's 9 slides for all of 8-9 to 8-12. So it's not gobs and gobs and gobs of stuff. Okay. So it's not a whole lot. And we're going to go over it fairly quickly. Your test is not going to be as difficult as it would have been at school or even here because it's not getting tested. But I do want to get you on another test grade in. That should be a pretty good test grade. So we will continue tomorrow talking about 8. I do want to come over here and remind you guys my open math. The quiz will be sitting right here, but it'll be green. And you'll have 20 minutes to do it, and you'll have until noon tomorrow. But please don't wait too long to do it, because I start looking and it makes me nervous when y'all don't get them done very quickly.
How many
How many questions?
5 questions, all multiple choice. Okay.
And it'll be just like the homework, really.
Yeah, I mean, it's you know how the quizzes I give you in class, it's just one of those quizzes
Yeah.
from class, but it's just instead of being a piece of paper, I coded it into my open math.
All right.
So I just typed them straight from the quizzes that I've been
And
getting.
there's no FRQ, right?
No FRQ, correct. Correct.
One
And-
of these days, you will like really stress us out over this and just like have really easy answers like 2 + 2.
I don't want to stress you out anymore. I mean, I feel like everybody's a little stressed out right now. Do y'all feel more stressed out? I know I do. This
Yes.
I
doing
feel
this,
stressed, but it might be the lack of sleep.
well, doing this online stuff plus just trying to be your regular teacher has blown my mind. I mean, I've been more busy the past week than I probably have in the past 2 months at school. Just trying to make sure that I'm getting it to you well enough that you can actually learn it, and I'm not screwing up the technology too bad. This has been super stressful, so I'm really ready for next week to be spring break and for me to stay at my house.
You're
And
doing a good job at it though. I quite like it.
I hope it's good, and I hope that the videos help too, and I hope more people.
Well, the pacing is nice, and it's just
Okay.
overall really
And you
good.
know, it still feels like we're at school.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, see, cool.
Great to rewatch the video later in the day just as well. Like, oh, I'll take notes in the morning, then I'll go to sleep, and I'll wake up and be like, what in the world is in my notebook? And watch
So you
the
can watch
video
it again?
and-
Well, good. Okay. Well, guys, again, okay, y'all need
That'd
to.
be awesome.
Okay. Mute yourselves because I hear myself. And let me talk one more thing more seriously. Thank you guys so much for being here. If there's anything I can do, you know, all you have to do is text me. You can get me on here on Discord. I keep this open on my desktop just in case I get messages. I can see them. You know, I'll do whatever I can to help you guys out. And as soon as I know anything else about this test, I will get it to you all. And I'm hoping they'll give us a lot more direction. So that's why I haven't started reviewing yet, because I don't want to review stuff that we don't need to be reviewing. So anyway, you all have a great rest of your day. Get that quiz taken for me. And I will see you guys here tomorrow. Bye, guys.
See you in an hour and a
Good
half.
day.
Bye, Miss Michelle.
Bye, Mr.
The mass exodus again.
You're right. Me too. Me too.
Bye, Mr. Shea.
Yeah. Bye. What, Shane?